Hello, welcome to Here with Laura. I am your host, Laura Williams. I'm a designer, entrepreneur, a mom, and this is a space where real life and meaningful conversations happen. Each episode, I sit down with people who inspire me, fellow creatives, business owners, parents, and dreamers to talk about the behind the scenes of building a life with intention. We'll cover everything from the beauty of slow mornings to the chaos of growing a business or raising a family and all the messy, magical moments in between. Whether you're multitasking or taking a moment to yourself, I'm so glad you're here. Today, I'm joined by someone who has been an instrumental part of the growth of my business. She is a superhuman powerhouse at what she does. And this is Caroline Pinkston of Caroline Pinkston PR. She is truly inspiring as a mother, savvy business owner, and PR expert. She's carved out meaningful space within the interior design world that did not really exist before. So thank you, Caroline, for being here.
Thank you for having me. What a nice intro.
No, truly, I can't say it enough. I mean, as a designer, your dream is to have your work be seen. And for me, it would not have happened at all to the level that you have created for me. So I am just so excited to have you here on the show.
Well, I'm really excited to be here.
Good. So as a little background, I met Caroline at Design Camp.
Mm-hmm.
So Design Camp is this amazing opportunity for all designers I think you should go to. It shaped how I run my business as an interior designer. Anastasia Casey from ID Co., Interior Collective, and Lindsay Brook Designs, they put together this amazing program that teaches you all the things you need to know to have a successful interior design business. I've gone twice, and I may go again in a couple years because every time I go, I learn something different because I'm at just another level in my own business. And it's like, okay, if you want to go to the next level, here's what you should do. So highly recommend you check them out if you don't already know about them. But Caroline was there speaking. She did a presentation at Design Camp, and I was watching and I'm like, she's in Austin. This is crazy. So I'm like, I write down all of her information. We speak a little bit afterwards because we actually had dinner together.
Yes, we were sitting at the same table.
Yeah, that was very fortuitous.
Yes.
I feel fortunate that you were at my table because you could have been sitting with anybody.
That's true.
You know? So we hit it off, and then as soon as I got back, I called Caroline. I'm like, all right, tell me what's the deal? What is this going to cost me? Because at this point, I had only been in business for a very short amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a financial
It's a commitment
but it's worth its weight in gold. And I have said that a million times over. I mean, you got me into, just in the very first month, you got me into Martha Stewart.
House Beautiful,
House
maybe?
Beautiful, right off the bat.
Yep.
And I'm like, this is insane. You know, like texting it to all of my family members.
Yay.
How crazy is it? You know, it seems so silly, but it is huge, and it impacts your credibility so greatly.
Definitely. It provides this third-party validation that says you know what you're talking about in the design world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's funny because when you start your own business, you think, oh yeah, my work is going to speak for itself.
Mm-hmm.
And while it does to a degree, you really need to go the extra mile in order to get eyes on your work. Because otherwise, how do they know? Social media can only take you so far.
Definitely. And, you know, PR and marketing can be a priority for everybody, especially interior designers, but it can be pushed down to the bottom of your to-do list because you guys have clients to manage, you have a team to manage, and often there are other fires you need to put out before you can address your own PR and marketing. So having somebody that really is in charge of it and talking to those editors, figuring out what they're wanting to write about, and then being able to pull from your portfolio and figure out what makes sense for you is really can be a full-time job.
1,000%, which is why I hired you, because you handled all that dirty work for me. I mean, it is time and labor intensive to be thoughtful about what you're putting together, what you're pulling. And it's so nice that you come to me, hey, I have, this editor that's writing an article about XYZ. I was thinking it would be great with this project. Can you send me a few lines? And I'm like, oh my gosh, my hero. Yes, I would love to do that. And it takes me 10 minutes
Sure.
versus over an hour, not to mention I don't have these relationships with these editors.
Right.
And that's such a huge part of it. So we're going to pause on this because I want to backtrack to hear about how you got into PR.
Yep.
And, kind of your journey to get to where you are today.
Yeah. So I went to the University of Texas, and then after I graduated, I moved to New York City and got a job at Edelman PR, which is a big agency. It gave me I feel like working at an agency gave me a really great foundation for how public relations works. I was on the Dove Campaign for Real Beauty account, which was really fun. We got to work with celebrities and the Girl Scouts of America, and that was a really great experience. I moved back to Austin and I started working at a boutique agency, and we specialized in hospitality, which was also really fun. But we had one interior designer client and I was on the account, and it opened my eyes. I had no idea what a giant role PR plays in the interior design world. I love interior design. That's what I like to read about. That's what I like to spend my money on. But I knew I wasn't going to become an interior designer. So working on this client, I was like, oh, I just fell in love with being able to work on the communication side of things and being a part of the interior design world. It was a really fruitful experience. It was Meredith Ellis was our client. We got her showroom. She was opening her showroom, James, in Austin. We got her showroom in Architectural Digest. We got her client's house that she designed in LA in the LA Times. We got her house in Better Homes and Gardens. So it was just a really great experience. From there, I went to Camille Stiles' team. She's an influencer in Austin, and I handled all of her sponsored content. That was a dream gig. She is such a great boss. I loved working with her team. And I learned a lot about negotiating with brands from a contract side of things. And it's really helped now that I work with interior designers because it's a natural partnership for you guys to partner with brands too. So I was able to learn quite a bit of, I had a client last summer design a rug with a brand. And so I was able to take what I've learned from working with Camille and negotiating, okay, they might not have a ton of financial budget, but can they send a dedicated email linking to my client's Instagram? Can they give my client trade money so she can then sell these rugs to her clients? Figuring out different creative ways to ensure that the interior designer is compensated for their time and effort. So after a couple of years with Camille, I went out on my own and started just doing general PR consulting. And two of my first clients happened to be in the design space. And I was reminded of how much I love it here. And I wanted to get to a place where I was only working with interior designers. So I would say that's happened for probably about the past 4 years. I've been able to niche down. And since doing that—
Was it tough to phase into that fully?
It was tough because I was doing, I was working with a fashion brand I loved. I was working with different general lifestyle stuff that was fun. But who, of course, helped me really cross over was when Anastasia Casey signed on. And I was like, okay, this is going to help me get to a point where I can say no to other—
She's impacted a lot of people.
She truly has. I feel very lucky to have her in my orbit.
I've got to get her on this show.
Yes. But yeah, I would say niching down was the best thing I've done for my business. And if anybody is considering it in any field, I think it is such a smart business move because while it does narrow your client field down, it makes it such an easier yes for those that you are marketing towards.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think I was scared for a little bit to start saying no because I was like, well, I can do PR for anybody. Mm-hmm. But as soon as I made that shift, the quality of press really exploded because I'm just talking to these same editors all the time.
Your relationships really grow even.
Yes. And when I get feedback from one client, I'm able to share that feedback with everybody, with more than just one person. Mm-hmm. And when I get a request from one specific client, if it makes sense, I can pull, for example, if I get— hi, I know you represent a client that does black and white kitchens. Can I use one of her images? And then I'm like, well, actually, I have a bunch of clients that might have black and white kitchens. So it's been really great.
That's amazing. And so when you created your niche down
Mm-hmm.
firm. How long did it take for you to realize, okay, so now this has legs?
Mm-hmm.
How did you break up with these clients that you love dearly? Because I'm sure
Yes.
you feel really passionate about the growth that you've created for all these people. Was it hard to phase out those clients that
It
you
was
really
hard. I would
love?
say the one that I probably felt strongest about, it ended up where she needed to pause on her PR and marketing. And then when she came back a few months later, I just had to say, actually I've shifted. And she was completely understanding and supportive.
Yeah.
But I think that for the most part, I end up encouraging people to really hire folks that are specialties in fashion PR or in interior design PR, because I think that there's so much value in
Those
in
relationships and the
exactly.
knowledge base of what you can get into, what your best bet is, essentially, because that's something else that, I pay you for is your experience in knowing, okay, well, for a home tour,
Mm-hmm.
XYZ, your best bet is to go with this publication because it's more in
Yep.
the category of the design style, or this editor I know is going to eat this up.
Yep.
So
Exactly.
you're already fine-tuned in what people are wanting, which is incredible.
Right.
Yeah, so more gains.
Yes.
So you are not only an amazing business owner, but also a very busy mom.
Yes.
You have 2 children and one on the way. I just found out
Yes.
today. So very exciting news. How do you balance it all? Is there like a magic sauce that helps you to balance it all? Support? Do you have someone helping you at home? What do you do?
Isn't that the question?
Yeah.
I think I read somewhere recently that, either you're working or you're parenting.
Mhm.
Try not to do both at the same time. And I think that has been something I've tried to take to heart, because whenever I do try to have my kids at home and then check my email, it ends up
Nobody's happy.
nobody's happy, and it ends up I'm not doing my best work in either camp.
Mhm.
So I think getting as much support from my team, my business team. I have 2 employees, contract workers, Lauren and Amber, that are amazing, and I truly could not do it without them. And then also having as much help at home as possible. Having my husband is great, but then also having someone help with cleaning the house and taking the kids places.
Mhm.
I think nobody's doing it all. I think the people that
It's
it's
impossible.
impossible.
The
And I
people that say
think
that they're doing it all,
right.
they're liars.
They're not mentioning they have a housekeeper twice a week,
Yeah.
so I think and being open about that is, whenever I see other moms talking about that, it always makes me feel better in terms of nobody is doing it. And so just being transparent as you can. Um
Well, and mom guilt is a real thing. I feel it every single day. Every day that maybe my husband is picking up my kids, it's summer right now. So if he's picking them up from camp and I'm not the one picking them up, there's this weird mom guilt that just kind of weighs down on you. And
yes.
you're like, because you want to be the person. I want to be the person
Absolutely.
that does everything.
Yeah.
I want to be the person that's, even though I strongly dislike laundry, I want to be the person that is able to do the laundry and put it away for my family and provide in that way. But guess what? I don't have time for
Right.
that.
Yes.
So
I
we've
also send
recently
my
hired
I was gonna
someone.
say I also send my laundry out.
We've recently hired someone to help us at home.
Yes.
So I have like my weekly cleaning crew, and then I have a sweet woman that comes in and
Yeah.
I'll wash the laundry, but she'll put it away.
Yep.
She'll organize. If the things get pulled down on the pantry, she organizes
Yes.
that. Like things that we just truly, my husband and I are both business owners. We work around the clock when
Mhm.
we're not being parents. And it's nice to not have to use our time where we'd like to be
Right.
parents and have family time to do the silly things that aren't adding value to our lives.
Right. Yes. Yeah, I had the hardest time leaving my kids I've probably ever had before design camp, just a couple of weeks ago. It was during Mother's Day, and my daughter was having a Mother's Day performance, and then I was missing something else with my son's kindergarten. And
End of year stuff.
end of year is hard.
Mhm.
And so I wasn't not going to go to design camp, but I did feel like, oh, wow, it's you can only be in one place at a time.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I was so glad I went to design camp.
Mm-hmm.
I FaceTimed during the Mother's Day performance.
Yeah.
My daughter felt that I was there and could see it.
Yeah.
And just being able to, it's a privilege that I was able to go and really be able to focus on my work for a couple of days. And I think that was a lesson too, that I was, I was finding it hard. And then once you're able to make that shift and break off, it was really valuable to get some time to focus on my business.
Yeah. And you can't do everything. It's physically, mentally, emotionally impossible. And I got emotional while you were saying that, like you had to miss it,
Right.
but you were happy that you made that choice. Yeah. And that's incredible because I think it's really hard for people to understand. I did my best. And that's all I can do. I still got to watch the performance.
Yep.
Was I not there physically? No, but I saw it.
I saw it.
And she knows that I love her
Right.
and that I was able to experience it.
Yes,
still,
and I find that I am such a better mom. I have so much more patience. I have so much more work energizes me in a way, so I have more energy to actually play with the kids when I'm off of work. I find that and I know it's different for everybody, but I find that for me personally, I'm a better mom when when I'm busy at work too.
Yeah. I mean, when I did the stay-at-home mom thing for a little bit, and that's the hardest job in the world.
Right.
Beginning of COVID, it was crazy. Everybody was home all the time. And while I love those moments that we had as a family, I had a lot of minor mental breakdowns where I was just crying because I'm just so exhausted. And that is the reality that, people are sharing more of now, but they didn't enough. And so I started crafting like crazy. I was doing macrame. I was doing all these things just to kind of
have some kind of creative outlet.
Yes, because I needed it or else I was going to go bonkers.
Yeah.
And I find that as I dive into my work more and more, and it grows, it gives me a sense of individuality beyond my family, which I think is really important as a human, as a mom. I'm not my husband's wife.
Right.
I'm not my child's mother. I am all those things as Laura Williams,
yes,
the designer, business owner, all of that.
Yes. My friend who worked in a corporate job for years, she just switched to being a stay-at-home mom. And she said, she was making me laugh. She said, now all of the feedback that I get from my children is just constantly mostly negative because, there's a lot of complaining. Yeah. And she's like, when I was working, I got a lot of positive feedback. You get negative too, but you get a lot of positive reinforcement. Because
they were just excited you were there.
Yeah. And so, I was like, I get some negative feedback from my kids too. Yeah.
That also still happens. Maybe it's also an age thing.
Yes, yes.
I know. Children, they're funny. But, you wouldn't want to trade anything, at all in the time that you spend with them. Also, I think being away makes my kids appreciate when I'm around even more, but they do guilt me oh, you can't take me to this.
Right.
And I'm I can't today, but I will tomorrow. And they're okay. My son especially is okay. This big brown eyes. Yeah. I'm I'm sorry, I love you. Tomorrow, mommy just has a presentation today.
Right.
Okay, so you mentioned that your team has grown. How did you know it was time to hire on these contractors? And I mean, first of all, her support is amazing. They email me every day. Lauren and Amber are both just such wonderful assets from my side as a client. So I'd love to know, when you knew as Caroline Pinkston PR was growing, it was time to bring in some support. And also what kind of triggered that thought process?
Yeah, I think it can be such a big shift as an entrepreneur when you move away from the actual work that that you love doing. I get to do a lot of the pitching, but not nearly as much anymore. Yeah. And so that's been a really big shift because I'm dealing with a lot of the business stuff. I'm dealing with new business calls, proposals, ensuring that everything's happening. And so when I felt my time being pulled into dealing with the I don't want to call it the admin side of things, but there is a lot of admin to it. I needed to make sure that my clients were getting the actual pitching work done, strategy,
And the attention that they deserve.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when I niche down and you just feel your time you're not be able to do everything. And so I first hired Amber Solomon, who is wonderful. I found her through a virtual assistant agency. And then I was able to buy her out of her contract. So she works full-time for me, or she's not full-time, but she works exclusively for me. And I interviewed a couple of people, and I didn't need somebody that had PR experience necessarily. She had corporate experience, but I needed somebody with a flexible schedule and someone that was excited and had a good attitude. I think I have found that people that are nice and have good attitudes, whether it's clients or employees, that has become so important.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
We don't have time for the riffraff.
Right. Right. Well, it's just
it's exhausting.
Our time is too valuable. So I hired Amber, and then she takes on a big portion of our business, what I call the industry expert opportunities. So those are the advice-driven pieces or the image roundups. So she's handling a lot of those opportunities. And then and so she's been with me for a couple of years. And then I hired Lauren Marsala, who is senior level strategy. She had come from an interior design public relations agency. She had worked in a New York agency for years.
Mm-hmm.
And I was introduced to her, and she's been great in terms of doing some of the actual bigger story pitching, strategizing, and client facing as well.
Yeah, she's been wonderful. Both of them have been amazing to work with.
They're great.
How long has Lauren been with you?
It's been about a year and a half. Yeah.
So I really just got introduced to her more recently when we upped the conference.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So Caroline's also been helping me to pitch and get my store kind of a little bit more out there. And that's been incredible.
I am so proud of the amount of press we've been able to get your store. It's
wild.
It's wild, but I mean, when you came to me and I told you, here are the things we need.
Mm-hmm.
We need photography and we need some time on your team to really be able to execute this. And you were like, okay, let's do it. You got photography like within 3 days. I feel like you really.
That's not typical for photography, but
yeah, you were able to get it. And so that, of course, helped with the success.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's been really fun. And to get like physical magazine, publications is cool too.
Yes.
Locally. We've had a lot of people come into the shop. They're like, "Oh, I saw you in the Austin Way magazine," and that's so fun.
Music to my PR ears. I love hearing that. And
it's been so cool. And we're like, oh,
yay.
Yeah, yes, we're getting random people walking in every day now, which is great. I mean, we've only been open for 6 months, but it's not like we have an incredibly walkable street.
Sure.
So people really do need to intend on coming in. So it's been such a group effort with everything that everyone is doing with my social media team and you, and it's awesome. So thank you.
You're welcome.
We totally digressed, and I took over that. I'm like, and she's really killing it for my business again. I just wanted to say it again. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we talked about how hard it is to balance it all.
Mm-hmm.
What are some things that you do for yourself to keep yourself sane, and to kind of balance yourself? What are like some little treats you give yourself?
Sure. I try to work out a couple times a week. I think that is a giant perk of managing your own business, is managing your own schedule. I find that when I'm able to exercise, the day is a lot smoother in general. And I think being able to delegate is such a luxury. It can be hard to let go of that control, but once I started doing it, it made so much sense. And so really delegating what's on my plate that I don't need to be the person doing it, has been game-changing in terms of figuring out, okay, my hours, if I only have a couple hours today, I need to be the one to do this, but my team can do the rest.
And that's really hard to find, what you're willing to give up, especially when your business is your baby. And this is something that, I'm learning every single day how to delegate more and more out. And I feel like I'm finally to a point where I'm giving my team some freedom to just kind of like, okay, you know what needs to be done. Now do it.
Now do it.
And it is so freeing. I feel so amazing because of that. And it's hard to get to that point, though. I mean, I've had at least one team member for a few years now, and it's just, I think I'm just now to the point where I'm like, you do you, girl.
Right. Well, and I feel like when they get that trust from you, that's so empowering for them too.
I think so. And I feel like creatively she's really kind of blossomed and grown too, which has been really fun to experience and be a part of, that journey for her. But delegating out is so hard, but it is important.
Yes.
And I second getting that workout in is so important. I was up this morning at 5 a.m. so I could work out at 5:30 before the day started because, again, I wanted to get my kids ready. And so, like, if I want to do that and spend time with them in the morning and make the breakfast, then I need to work out before they're going to wake up.
Right.
And then, leave and go to work for the day. So, and here we are. I'm like, I showered.
Right.
We did it.
I also love a very cheap Asian massage place.
Yeah.
To go in, get 30 minutes.
A little quick fix
quick. Yeah, there's a place on Burnett right around here that I love. Yeah. So I feel like that's a luxury that I'm like, okay, I'm going to go do this for 30 minutes and I feel ready to go.
30 minutes.
Right.
How often do people like accidentally doom scroll for 30 minutes? Think about what you could do at that time. You could get a massage. Yeah. You could get a quick workout in.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hear you. So you shared a piece of advice with me, which cracked me up. And I'd love to hear you elaborate on it.
Sure.
A little bit. You know what I'm going to say?
I think.
It's PR, not the ER.
Yes.
So tell me what you mean by that and kind of, share your thought process on that.
So one of my bosses in New York, who was a great boss and manager, whenever mistakes would happen, because we're humans and they're inevitable, she would always say, guys, it is PR, not the ER. No one is hurting. Yeah. No one is physically endangered. We can fix this. And I think probably in every business, we can take things very seriously. PR is competitive. There's a lot of feelings at play. There's a lot of...
Well, especially when you're designing something, you can't help but get emotionally invested.
Absolutely.
So you know how much we care about our projects. And it's like, but wait, why? And it's so beautiful.
2 to 3 years for you guys to... From the start of a home project to getting photos back, to styling it, to getting it photo ready. So there is so much emotions involved in these home tours.
It's a labor of love.
Yes, exactly. And so it can feel very intense and like, very emotional. And so keeping in mind that it is not, we're not working in a hospital. Yeah. No one's, no one's life is on the line, even though it can feel that way, is such a good mindset.
It is. It's funny because there was earlier on in my business when I was doing everything myself, there was an issue with like client tile. Somebody gave me the wrong price point. I shared, with my client what the cost would be for them. And the guy came back to me and was like, actually, it's this much. My, salesman that I was purchasing from. And I was like, what? They cannot afford
much
that.
More.
And it felt so horrible to me. It was like such an awful experience. This is on a Saturday. My husband's in the garage, like breaking down boxes. And I go in and I'm like almost in tears. I'm like, how do I tell my client? I'm like, should I just eat the cost? And he's like, no, that's crazy town. I'm like, I know, but I told him it was going to be this. And he said something very similar. Yeah. And he said, are you the surgeon coming and telling this homeowner that, their parent or their best friend is not going to make it out of the surgery? And I'm like, well, no. He's like, okay. And I'm like, And it felt kind of insensitive at the time, but it's so true. I was
so
like, but
true.
this feels very intense. He's like, I know, but this stuff happens. It's not your
It's
fault.
inevitable.
You just need to have the tough
Yep.
conversation and deal with it.
Absolutely.
But at the time, I was like, this is so bad.
Right. And I feel so grateful that I was able, one of my first bosses was able to instill in me that PR is, well, of course, it's very serious, but also it's okay if mistakes happen. Mistakes are going to happen.
Yeah. Shout out to that boss. It's
Yes.
so great getting little nuggets of knowledge from, 15 years ago
Exactly.
and bringing it to us now today.
Yeah.
That's awesome. It's amazing how, the little sayings will stick with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Cracks me up. So what's one thing that designers ask your advice about the most?
I would say designers ask me constantly what photographers to hire.
Like who?
Like who?
Oh, interesting.
Photography has gotten so important. I believe with all of my heart that if media is a goal, then you should invest as an interior designer. The number one thing to invest in is photography.
Yeah.
And it's hiring the photographers that have been featured in whatever publication you are going for.
Interesting. So if you want to get an AD.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And it's a game, but if you want to play that game, that's part of it.
I think, though, also as an artist, you want to make sure that you're choosing the photographer that's going to capture how you like things to be captured. For instance, right now, a lot of people are photographing their spaces a little bit moodier with a darker kind of look to it. I tend to prefer my spaces to be captured very true to color, not bright, but just how it looks.
Just more
naturally.
realistic.
Yeah.
Yes.
If I walk into the room, this is how it looks. At least, if it's clean.
Right.
Speaking about my home, But, I think it's important for it to look true to the space. And so it's interesting to see what is published. And sometimes I'm shocked. Like, I'll look through and this is a beautiful space, but maybe, I would have photographed it differently with my photography. Also, shout out to Madeline Harper.
Love Madeline. She's so talented.
She's a dream.
And she's great.
So fun to work with. Incredibly talented, and she is with you every step of the way. So something that, as a designer, when you're working with a photographer, it's so important to have, they have the thing tethered. You can see it in real time. And what Madeline is so great about is analyzing the photo and saying, oh, this is off a little bit, because you're looking at the whole space as a designer. Sometimes you don't notice that the curtain on the bottom is flapped out a little bit. And if I got that photo back, I'd be like, that bothers me. I can't submit that to AD.
Right.
Are you kidding?
I know. I know. And I would say I was just in New York for a bunch of editor meetings. And one editor told me that hiring a stylist has almost gotten to be just as important as hiring a photographer or hiring the photographer.
And I think that would be super cool. I've never done it.
It might be time.
But I'm also a little bit scared to let go of that.
It's
portion.
It is a different skill set, though, than what designers.
Styling for photos versus styling for
editorial. A lot of designers do have a hard time letting go, but I find that those who, again, if media is a goal, if media is not a goal, then it's not as important.
Yeah.
But if media is a goal, hiring the stylist that can really get that shot that will sing on a magazine page, it's just a different skill set and can be so vital for getting your home, your work that you've been working on in print or digital.
Yeah.
It can make such a difference.
Well, and something also is taking the time during these shoots. I've found that, say I have Madeline for a whole day. Sometimes we knock out 3 homes. If it's just not full homes, but say spaces. I have a kitchen here in this home, then, 20 minutes down the road, I have, the primary bathroom and the powder bathroom or something because we do smaller projects as well. Right. We don't only do full homes. So I'll try and knock those all out in one day. But sometimes I feel like we're on such a rat race that I'm like, did I just devalue what was happening? Madeline still produces great work.
Yes.
But maybe pumping the brakes would get us the editorial.
Well, and you guys are pulled in so many directions. And also you're so close to the projects. Like there's such an emotional tie. So having a third party, a stylist come in and really be able to offer a new set of eyes, and take off the pressure. Ideally, the stylist brings all of the florals, all of the props, of course, pulling from some of your favorites too, but that returning things like that should be a huge weight off of
That's true.
your back. And then you can be running around preparing the next shot, and they can be with the photographer being like, okay, let's open this book and shift it a little bit.
Yes.
So they provide just a different skill set.
No, you're totally right. That's really good advice. Taking notes.
Yeah.
Okay, so totally unrelated.
Yep.
But I think speaking to the well-roundedness of my guests is super important. What are some things you love to do outside of work?
Outside of work. Spending time with my kids.
Mhm.
I think really trying to take advantage of the outdoors that Austin has to offer. I've been saying that. I've lived in Austin now on and off for 10, 15 years. And I think I finally feel comfortable going to Bull Creek and taking the kids and just, really appreciating the city that we live in. I grew up in Houston, and I always told my kids, I'm like, we had nothing. We don't have
the trails.
We don't have the trails, the water. So I love being outside as much as possible. And then I really do love to travel. I think prioritizing travel.
Do you have trips planned this summer?
I do. We're going to be in Wimberley for a week next week with the kids. So that'll be really fun. Then I'm going to Costa Rica with my husband. And then we're going to Florida with the family for a week in July.
Good. We're in Florida.
In New Smyrna, right outside of. Yeah.
I grew up there. That was my beach I went to growing up.
It's a tiny beach. Yeah.
I grew up in Orlando. So
right there.
Yeah, you go, it's like 45 minutes from where my house was. So we would, when we went, but it was a big ordeal to go because it was not, people think the beach is very accessible easily no matter where you live, and that's just not the case.
Right.
And so we'd have to make a day of it.
Yeah.
So, load up the car, get a cooler, stop at Publix, get the pub subs, which you need to do. I don't know if you know about Publix subs.
We go to Publix. We eat pretty much exclusively Publix over there. So yes.
Isn't that so funny?
The fried chicken at Publix is some of the best chicken tenders. So good.
It's so good. And if you throw that on a sub, not healthy.
No,
delicious,
but delicious.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Worth it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so something I plan to ask all my guests so that we can learn a little something special to take away from you personally is, do you have any rituals, routines, or little joys that help anchor your day-to-day life?
What a good question.
Just like little joys.
Little joys. I think really acknowledging what brings you joy, like going the extra step and being like, I feel so grateful X, so I feel so grateful that I do get to manage my own schedule.
Mm-hmm.
I think being able to work out in the middle of the day is something that I love to do, or go have lunch with a friend or whatever. Other little joys would be being able to, I guess it just goes back to managing my own schedule, being able to go to my son's kindergarten end of the year celebration and not really having to worry about if, someone is expecting me to be somewhere else.
Yeah. I will say that always blows my mind. All of these programs for the kids are during the school day, which, is great. That's fine. School's open, whatever. But how do parents who don't manage their own schedules get to go to things? Because I don't miss a beat if I'm,
exactly,
if I'm able. And I just can't imagine if I'm expected to be at a 9-to-5 job. And that's why with my team, I'm like, if you have, Mallory on my team, go to your son's thing. Yeah. It's fine. You're okay for a couple hours to do you. Just fill it in later.
Right. But not everybody has a boss that's that understanding.
I know. And it blows my mind. I'm like, let's go, people.
Yeah. So I think really, so not only, managing my own schedule, but really appreciating it. So I don't know if it's coming across clear, but really taking that extra step of being like, oh, this is something that means a lot to me, and I'm glad I'm able to do it.
Yeah. Expressing your gratitude.
Yeah.
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 And I think sometimes you feel even more grateful when you say it out loud.
Definitely.
It sounds so silly, but
Yeah. But being able to go to Muffins with Mom with no problem is, I haven't always worked at places that would allow that. And so I feel very grateful. That feels like a luxury to me.
yeah, that's amazing. Well, thank you so much for
Thank
everything
you for
today.
having me.
It has been such a pleasure to have you here on Here with Laura. And if you enjoyed today's conversation, I'd love it if you'd subscribe, leave a review, or share the episode with a friend. It helps more than you know. You can find more about me and Caroline and everything we talked about today in the show notes. And until next time, take care of yourself and don't forget to make space for what really matters. Thank you, Caroline.
Thank you.